What's up guys, Sniper Doofus back with another weekly analysis, not a recap, kind of just going over some trades I'm looking into heading into the week. Now, if we take a look at these charts right here, I'm already looking for a buy on this UJ pair. So this here was probably coming because they saw Donald Trump was winning in the election, and I guess now we can kind of just see that it's probably going to be a huge buy here. We can see that it's kind of when it hits these lows it goes up, hits these lows it goes up, hits these lows, it kind of went up here, but then like the election does bring in a lot of volatility. And then also if we maybe head into the daily chart, so you can kind of see that this here is kind of the lowest it's been since Rona, even though it is on that steady decline. But pre-Rona it was kind of trading above here and starting to head upwards, even though I guess if you were to trade like this it looks like it's fine. But for me, I'm probably a bit biased on the upside movement, probably a bit of correction that's going to occur. Because if we go in and maybe back to the 4 hour, or back to like the 1 hour chart, here we can kind of see that on this RSI here where there's the least amount of lag compared to those 4 hour and daily time frames. We can just see that here on this RSI it's kind of creating new highs since this point, but over here, so seeing that bullish divergence there. So I'm probably going to actually just place a trade on this pair, just to buy towards the upside, probably like this. And in terms of how much I'd risk, I'd probably risk something like this here, and because I'm pretty confident, I'll probably say that this here is equal to like maybe like 3%. So because I normally trade between 1% to 3% risk, but here probably more curious, more inclined to enter in on that 3%, because possibly it can just shoot all the way up here, and that would be like what, 5 times 3, around 15% on this one trade alone. So because of the election, probably just going to jump in on this one here on a buy and take it towards the upside, and it's actually like that on most of the US pairs. So with that said, let's just head into the next pair. So in terms of this trade here, there isn't really too much chart analysis. It's mostly just based off of like the fundamentals that's happening around the world, such as like the US election. So if you take a look here, we can kind of see that I've got this fib here, but we'll get rid of it because it didn't really work. And then we can see that once again this selection here kind of made this go into the oversold region. And then if we go take a look here, since COVID, where's COVID? Here, this is COVID here, and before COVID it was trading up here. So this here is also probably another really good pair to enter in on a buy. Although we can see that post-COVID it did continue dropping down to here, so possibly it could just shoot up here, but in my opinion I kind of just believe that it's going to go up. But for this one here, like I can see that here it's in this oversold area and it's starting to head up, but for me I'm not really sure on this one compared to like that UJ pair. So let's just head on to UCAD. So like a lot of these USD pairs, the volatility on it is like super weird. So I don't know, like it's just weird. So I wouldn't really want to trade in on it, and there really isn't much that's coming up on the chart, so it's just like a bit odd. But when we go into other pairs, there'll be like a lot more kind of chart analysis that'll be available for us to analyze, and then for me to actually plan out my trades. So if you don't really know like how much I trade or anything, I trade $2,000. I do it on my YouTube channel. If you want to just check that out, you can see that I upload twice a week actually. So I upload these live videos that I'm doing now, and then once again like the YouTube here. So we'll just continue on here. And this is actually going off on YouTube, so like it's going to be a bit of a YouTube section there. So taking a look here, I'm just curious, so I'll just check out the 4 hour charts here. I can kind of just see that, where's COVID? COVID's up here. This here is still kind of trading within this range here, but when it does hit these lows, it does end up heading towards the upside. So if you were to see that, maybe possibly a bit of, well really I'd like to enter in here. Hopefully I like to see it kind of come back to in this area down here. If it does, I'd like to enter in there. And then if it dropped even further down to here, I'm probably double in on this position because, like, once again, let's go look at the dailies. You can kind of see that if we were to just use like this data here from 2019, you can see like it hits this, goes up, and then like it hits it again, goes up, and even here hits it, goes up, here hits it, goes up. So for this, I'm pretty like keen on entering in on a buy on this pair here, but then once again, I have to kind of check it out during the week. And like, let's just take a look. There's really no fibs to take in on an uptrend because this here is kind of essentially the start of the reversal rather than a re-entry on the reversal, so there isn't really a good fib to put in on this pair. So taking a look here at this pair, just going to delete the fib to kind of clean up the charts as I do my analysis. I can already see key level just here as it's being a bit of resistance here. Similar to this. So possibly there might be a re-entry available here, take it towards the upside, but because it is towards this extreme high up here and this area here, I think that I'll be more inclined to enter in on a short position, especially as this is against like the US dollar. I believe that with the US dollar going up in value the coming weeks, I do believe that like pairs such as like NU, New Zealand dollar, US dollar, will actually start heading downwards soon. Essentially, possibly if it breaks down below this level here and then retests and then continues heading down, something similar to like this is what it would look like. So it continues down, retests, and that's when I'd want to enter in kind of like on this side towards the downside and just have my stop loss depending on where market structure is, and then just take that trade. So we'll just delete that. And that's kind of trade I'll be looking for on this pair. Alright, so I want to kind of leave this analysis in because I kind of like trading this kind of pattern where on this clear trend and then it crosses over here on this key level and then short, and then like essentially entering on a buy on the bottom of like this area here. So with that said, I'm just going to kind of look for some key levels this week that I kind of saw, but taking a look at it, there really isn't anything that's too nice. There's kind of a small one right here like this one, but like a bit smaller here with it being resistance and then support, but I don't really want to trade based off of that level, so I'm just going to leave that kind of as an irrelevant level. And in terms of a relevant level, I'd kind of like to keep this one right here in here, this area, kind of like to mark this one up. You can kind of see that it's resistance, 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 breaks it, then becomes support here. So this might indicate that there's a key level right around this 0.6958 area. Whoops. So let's see what's happening here on this GU pen. So we're saying here that using this high to this low, we can kind of see that it hit this 0.6 area, kind of rejected, and started heading towards the downside, but it wasn't able to actually go all the way towards the downside here, and instead it's starting coming back up. So this might show that it's starting to range in between here sideways. Now this here really isn't kind of that good of a like sideways movement as well, because it's kind of like slow and not really that volatile. Unless like you're trading for pips, then it's volatile. I can see that this small movement here is kind of like 200 pips, whereas like let's just take a look here, that same side of movement is only like 100 pips here, but then you just trade a smaller lot size, right? So I'm just going to delete the fib here. Yeah. So what I was just looking at was actually no one better. So taking a look here, let's just see kind of what the fib's showing us. If we can look that in, because I feel like it's already come back to kind of test that 0.5, maybe even 0.7. So you can see that it's kind of tested the 0.7 right around here. Now it's starting to head towards the upside there. So this, I feel like this pair here is going to start continuing towards that upside. And taking a look at previous data there, like it is still kind of in this downtrend, and so it's contradicting, so I'm not really keen on entering in on this pair. And we can also see that this level of resistance has stayed relevant throughout this week. Alright, so taking a look here, you can see that this pair, GBP has remained in its range, which is kind of like, I don't know, just weird. It's been in a range for so long, since like what, 24th of September. So it's kind of been like a month, even longer than a month. It's just been sitting in this range here. But I guess there's some people that would love this. So you can see this level here kind of remained relevant, and because of that I'm kind of just going to bring this level across as well, kind of just see if it comes back down, if it's oversold here and it drops a bit down on this area on the OBV, probably enter in on the buy and take this towards the upside, just based off of previous history within this pair. But then like I'd like to have kind of a decent stop loss, because if I was to enter in like, let's say here, probably have my stop loss something like that, and kind of like a 2% on this pair here. If it goes up, then that's like what, 4%, around $90 on this pair. It would be a good trade, but you know, once again, like you don't really want to risk too much of your account size. Like right now I have around 2.5k on the account. I'm trying to get this to $700 and then apply for that FTMO funding, right? And for the $100,000 account, so in that you're only allowed to risk 5% per trade. So you kind of want to be only risking like 2%, 1%, 3%, and then getting those bigger like trades or those more consistent trades, so that you actually can kind of hit those profit targets and stuff, so then you can get the funding and really just live off of trading Forex, right? Now, if you're interested in my whole journey, I really only started at the start of this year, and you can really see how I traded from $60.58, now trading at $2,000, and hopefully by middle of next year I could be trading 100,000. Now, didn't take any shortcuts, but I'm just trying to say it is doable. So that's kind of a trade I'm looking for on this pair. Now, oops, just farted. Whoops. That's probably not child friendly actually. Take a look here, you can see a trade here. Take profit if you want to see what happened with this. Check the YouTube channel. So I'm actually just going to delete this fib here. It could have actually just continued heading down towards this area, but we can kind of see that it's been a bit choppy on this key level here. So I'm not really looking too keen on entering in on this pair. And we can kind of see that this range here is kind of irrelevant now. So I'd mostly be looking to see how it reacts to this area up here. See how it reacts to this, but not really so much. So mostly just up here, and then if it can break this retest, hopefully it continues on to the upside, enter in on a buy. So with that said, I'm probably going to get rid of that fib just to kind of clean up my charts. But what I do think is going to happen is that it's going to continue heading down to around this area. So taking a look here, you can kind of see how the US dollar was falling because of these US elections. You can see that the euro dollar really just hit this area and just shot up, and now it's coming back. It's probably going to start heading back down. So what I'm going to do is really just move. You can see that on most of these keys levels here, we can see like, you can see that from this area here, there was this impulsive move to up to here, then it came down, tested, then it came up, and we see another impulsive move. This here wasn't really too relevant except for this part up here. Then we can see that there's this impulse, a lot of volatility at this level here, and then another impulse move and corrections. Looks like it's going to happen now. So this here, I'm kind of expecting it to start heading towards that downside. And yeah, I think that if you were to just sell, so most of the trades this week are kind of coming off of that back foot of the election, because the election really messes with the market. So like, you guys could already see that trade I wanted to take on USD JPY. And actually what I'm going to do is kind of, so that's 42 pips 80 cents. So what I'm going to do is go on position size calculator. Guys, this is actually live. So AUD USD, the account size is at around 2,000. We risk about 3% on this trade at 42.8 pips on USD JPY. That's great. So we can see here that we should be kind of looking for about that 0.1%, I mean 0.1 lot size heading into this trade. What I'm going to do is probably try and stay up for the next 3.5 hours till the market opens, and then once the market opens, place this order, just place a buy. Don't really care about the entry, kind of just hold it. This would be more of like a swing trade or something like that. Hold it for a minute and really hopefully just take this back up to where it used to be, and that's kind of just what I'm expecting to happen heading into this week, especially with Biden and most of like the world being happy that Trump is out and the confidence within the US shooting through the roof. I really do think that the demand on this USD pair will be extremely high. So I'm kind of confused on what pair we're at. We were at this Euro USD, and we did determine that this pair is probably going to head down, not because of the analytics and like the charting, but mostly just because of the fundamental news that's been happening with the economy, especially with like that US election mostly. Damn, man, kind of thirsty, bro. I'll just get a drink after the strawberry. So taking key, you can see another trade here, hit take profit. If you want to see more about that, once again just hit up my YouTube. So I'm just going to take a look at previous stuff within the charts. Where is March? Is March not really effective? March. Kind of trading down there, came back up. I'm mostly just going to look to see how it breaks and retests this. If it starts to show a bit of decline, this pair here I could just maybe take towards the upside here, but I would be using my fib then from this level down here. So hopefully you can break this high and then come back down, and then I could enter in around here, so my stop loss probably just below here, and kind of just risk about 1% on this pair. And yeah, that's really it for this. Or like if you drag this across, and kind of see that this might be kind of an area to target for my for my take profit. So this is kind of a trade I'll be looking for. So gonna mark that one in. I can kind of just have my stop loss something similar to this, and then you can see that it's at that 1.3 risk to reward, so I might be getting about 25 bucks or so. But then or I could risk about 2% here once it hits that take profit. Like I can open 2 trades both at 1%, and then have one take profit for up here, and then have just the other take profit way up higher, and then just move the stop loss up to break even, essentially trading this trade with no risk. But first I like to look for a break of this and then go up to essentially this area up here. So kind of interested in that one, and especially this UJ. In terms of UJ here, so like the Euro GBP pair, you can just see here, it's really just been in this steady decline for really just most of this bloody long time. Also, if we were to take a look here, you kind of see that there was this rejection here on this 0.7 level. Then again, now we're seeing rejection on this 0.6 level. But for me to enter in, the entry points on this pair have kind of been pretty weird. So I'm not really looking for an entry on this pair. But yeah, that's really it. Like I'll probably just wait till it comes back down to this extreme low down here and enter in on a buy towards the upside, or kind of look for it to start shooting upwards. So if it starts to range shift sideways, you can kind of see already that it has set this higher low, so possibly it might, if this is unable to set a lower low than this point right here, because we can kind of see that there is a support forming here, 1, 2, 3, 4. If it is unable to set a lower low here, essentially I would believe that a buy would be kind of nice, but then once again we are kind of taking that risk because this is able to shoot a bit lower. Also taking this GBP pair, maybe if we go you know, to be honest, it's kind of 50-50 on this, but I'd rather if it just really just breaks below this area here, then it's going to probably continue heading down. But if it does show that it doesn't, if it creates a lower, a higher low here, and then creates kind of like really just a higher low here, then possibly it could just start continuing up. And it also depends on what these MV and RSI are showing us. If it is once again in that oversold region, or it's like low in this region here, then possibly we can really just enter in for a quick little trade, or like from down here, kind of just have a quick trade like this, and then just take this for about 2-3%. And if you really want to, you can set your stop loss just below here and kind of risk like that 2-3% on this trade. So here we kind of see that's coming down and entering in here, and then if I was to get rid of this and use a fib from this high down to this low, you can kind of see that this here is kind of a nice entry on a sell opportunity, although we did miss the ideal one. This here would be nice, and have your stop loss kind of just around here, maybe 1% on this. And then here you can see that it is at that 2, so you'd already, once this hits 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio, then you'd want to, so if I risk 2% on this trade here, then once it does hit that 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio, that'll, you close half the position, that's 1%. Right, and then that way you've already closed 1%, move stop loss up. If it goes and hits take profit, that'll be another %. And on the 100k, that means you'd make 2k in one trade, right? We should go for like what, 3 days of doing nothing, kind of just managing the trade. But then like you'd kind of have to see how this reacts here, because you can also see that it's kind of close to this oversold region, but it is able to probably go back up here. So with that said, we'll just head on to the next pair. So here you can kind of see that it is in this, damn, I need to take fat shit. Anyway, you can kind of see here, it's kind of just in this steady downtrend. In terms of key levels that we can see, I believe this one here remains relevant. You could kind of say this one here also remains relevant here, as it's kind of a support there, and then a bit of resistance, and then support, and then here it's a support again. But because it makes it too kind of small to trade, I'd rather just use like this level here where it's kind of a support right there, that little green candlestick, and then you can see here support, and then resistance, support there as well. And if it breaks this, might continue heading down, but then like you can see that it did already come down, and then on the retest it didn't create a lower low and started heading towards the upside. So possibly if it does continue up here, then that's when I can start looking in for a buy towards this upside here. And if I delete this level and update it, if I update this level, we could essentially target this high or even up here. But that's something that I'll be looking forward to this week. So taking a look here at this pair, you can kind of see that there's kind of this baseline level of support. So essentially, as it is against like the USD, this is essentially probably going to drop and correct itself after this big impulsive move. But really, if it just starts rejecting, you take it towards the upside on this pair. Now, this is just my personal stocks page, so what I'm going to do is kind of just analyze it, just see. We can see that it's just above that, this resistance point here. I own 8 current shares of Apple. I own about 5 of Microsoft here. You can kind of see that it's testing these highs up here. I own like 1 share of Tesla, and I own currently 0 shares of AMD. Really this year should have been a nice buy-in. I don't know why I didn't buy in. I guess I just assumed it would continue heading down. But with that said, guys, this is going to be the end of the stream. If you have any questions, let me know. And with the YouTube video, it's just going to end here. If you do want to ask me any questions live, or you just want to ask me any questions, period, then just check out my socials in the description below. And you guys can message me there. I have Twitter, Instagram, and Discord if you just want to shoot me a message. But with that said, guys, that's going to be it for today's video. I'll see you in the next one. See ya.